Good afternoon, welcome to Spectrum Television News at Noon. We are coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu approves repair of 2 federal roads in Ekiti. President Tinubu approves federal government, plans zonal agri mechanization centers. In other news, Trump signed spending bill to end longest shutdown in U.S. history. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. This afternoon we head to the national scene where Leader President Bola Tinubu has approved the repair of 2 more federal roads in Ekiti State. According to a statement by Governor Biodun Oyebanji, Special Advisor on Media, Yinka Oyebode, the roads are Itaure, Aramoko, Ado Ekiti, and Aramoko, Ijero, Faki, Ekiti roads. He said the repairs will be captured in the 2026 budget of the federal government. The developments followed a visit by Governor Oyebanji and the Senate leader, Senator Kwemi Bamidele, to President Tinubu at the Presidential Villa in Abuja on Sunday, November 9, 2025, during which the condition of federal roads in Ekiti State was discussed. Away from that, the federal government has announced plans to establish 1 mechanization service center in each of Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones as part of efforts to boost food security and strengthen agricultural productivity across the country. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, made this known at the 25th International Conference and 45th Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Institution of Agricultural Engineers held at the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization, Idofia, Kwara State. Kyari explained that the proposed mechanization service centers will serve as regional hubs for equipment repairs and coordination, aimed at ensuring that modern farm machinery is accessible, functional, and properly maintained nationwide. He said the initiative is part of the Tinubu administration's renewed push to modernize the agricultural sector and empower farmers, particularly youth and women, with technology-driven tools for enhanced productivity. In the meantime, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, has assured Nigerians that ongoing plans to boost the capacity of the mining marshals will further rid the country of illegal miners. Addressing participants of Course 34 of the Nigerian Defense College, Abuja, on the assessment of the solid minerals value chain and the impact on economic growth. Alake said the mining marshals have lived up to the mandates to provide an enforcement agency for the sector. The minister, in a statement issued by the Special Assistant to the Minister on Media, Segun Tomori, said scaling up the logistical strength in terms of vehicles, equipment and weaponry will power the expansion of the agency's operations to the 774 local governments and improve the security of mines and miners. Meanwhile, the federal government has intensified the welfare reforms for serving and retired military personnel. It has paid 18 billion naira in group life insurance benefits and established a veterans data bank and call center. The Defense Minister Mohammed Badaru announced these packages while addressing reporters in Abuja on next year's Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. The minister said the welfare initiatives formed part of the government's Soldier First policy aimed at improving the morale, living conditions and medical care for personnel and their families. According to him, the new Veterans Data Bank will ensure efficient management of veteran affairs, while the call center will provide direct support for retired officers and families of fallen heroes. On judicial matters, the Federal High Court in Abuja has overruled the no-case submission filed by a former acting accountant general of the Federation, Chukwunyere Nwabuoku'S, in his ongoing money laundering trial. Justice James Omotosho, in a ruling today, held that the prosecution has established a prima facie case against Nwabuoku'S to warrant his being called upon to enter his defense. Nwabuoku'S, being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on money laundering related charges involving about 868 million naira. Elsewhere, the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has approached the Court of Appeal Abuja Division, seeking an order to restrain the Federal High Court from delivering judgment in his ongoing terrorism trial. Recall that Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court fixed November 20 for judgment in the case, which has been ongoing since 2015. Kano, in his no-case submission, argued that the terrorism law under which the federal government charged him has been repealed. He therefore filed an application asking the court to free him. However, Justice Omotosho dismissed his no-case submission and gave him repeated opportunities to defend himself before finally fixing November 20 for judgment. Displeased, Kano approached the Court of Appeal in Abuja, praying it to order the lower court to halt scheduled judgment. He argued that the judge failed to address the constitutional issue of jurisdiction in his ruling on the no-case submission. In another development, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has urged the federal government to conclude negotiations on the union's demands. ASU expressed concern about the government's alleged back-and-forth approach to the negotiations with the union's officials. It warned that continued indecision could have serious consequences on the education sector. ASU announced its position in a statement by its president, Professor Christopher Puinwa, during the union's National Executive Council meeting at the Taraba State University, Jalingo. Now to the continent of Africa. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mahmoud Yusuf, has warned that the continent's debt crisis is undermining development. Speaking in Ethiopia at a G20 Africa high-level dialogue on debt sustainability, Yusuf said public debt has grown to about $1.8 trillion. This represents about two-thirds of the continent's GDP and is largely due to the high cost of borrowing and limited access to concessional finance. Yosef noted that in 2024 alone, debt service payments exceeded $70 billion, consuming an increasing share of public revenues and eroding fiscal space. He added that these pressures highlight the need for urgent collective action to restore debt sustainability and improve Africa's access to capital on fairer terms. Still in Africa, United Nations countries including Britain, Spain, Norway and Sierra Leone have raised alarm over the treatment of migrants in Libya, a key transit point for Africans fleeing conflict and poverty toward Europe. Norway's ambassador urged Libya to end arbitrary detentions, and Britain called for UN investigators to have unrestricted access. Meanwhile, Libya's acting foreign minister Elsa Elabo acknowledged the country's struggles but said Tripoli's UN-backed government is working to ensure human rights are respected during a fragile transition. He cited cooperation with International Criminal Court and a new joint committee to oversee detention centers. On the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has signed a spending bill to reopen the government and end the longest shutdown in U.S. history. He signed the short-term bill and budget into law as after the House of Representatives voted 222 to 209 to approve it yesterday, and 2 days after the Senate narrowly approved the same package. In the Oval Office, Trump said the government would now resume normal operations after people were affected from the 43-day shutdown. Reports say many government services have been suspended since October, and around 1.4 million federal employees have been on unpaid leave or working without pay. Still on the foreign scene, King Maha Vajiralongkorn of Thailand has arrived in China, the first ever visit by a reigning Thai monarch. The visit is at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping to celebrate the 50th anniversary of both countries establishing diplomatic ties for the first time in 1975. The Thai government said in a statement that the trip underlines the deep-rooted friendship and mutual understanding shared between Thailand and China at all levels. In Beijing, the king and his wife, Queen Sudha, will visit local landmarks like the Lingguang Buddhist Temple and the Beijing Aerospace City. Still to come in the news. Alexi Iwobi set for landmark 90th Super Eagles game versus Gabon today. Stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. And now to the rest of the news stories. On our business news, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has warned that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control's directive banning the production and sale of sachet and small pet bottle alcoholic beverages by December 31st, 2025 could cost the Nigerian economy over 1.9 trillion naira in investments and about 5.5 million jobs. Director General of MAN, Shegun Ajayi Kadia, said the NAFDAC-sponsored ban would hurt indigenous manufacturers and destabilize the economy at a time the manufacturing sector was beginning to recover. In a statement, Ajayi Kedia described the ban as unfair and against the run of play in the industry, noting that it contradicts the resolutions jointly reached by stakeholders during the validation of the draft national alcohol policy in October 2025. Still in business, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has stated that the proposed implementation of the 15% of Valorum import duty on imported premium motor spirit and diesel is no longer in view. The Director of Public Affairs Department, NMDPRA, George Eneta, made this known in a statement posted on its X handle today. NMDPRA also assured that there is an adequate supply of petroleum products in the country within the acceptable national sufficiency threshold during this peak demand period. On our health news, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, has said that 280,000 newborn babies die within the first 28 days of life due to the problems of prematurity. Pate disclosed the alarming figure in Abuja during a briefing to commemorate the 2025 World Pneumonia and Prematurity Days, which witnessed the launch of the Nigerian Child Survival Action Plan and the National Birth Defect Surveillance Guideline. The minister said the country also records 162,000 childhood pneumonia-related deaths annually. Pate, who was represented by the Director of Health Promotion, John Urakba, said data from the Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey revealed that the country's under-5 mortality rate declined from 201 deaths per 1,000 live births to 2,000 in 2000, I beg your pardon, to 110 in 2023, representing a 45% reduction. He, however, noted that despite this progress, approximately 850,000 preventable newborn and under-5 deaths are predicted to occur annually in Nigeria. Still in health, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Wale Edun, has announced that Nigeria is seeking to raise nearly 150 billion naira to fund vaccine procurement for 2025 and 2026. Edun revealed this at the 2025 Joint Annual Review of the Health Sector themed All Hands One Mission, bringing the Nigerian health sector to light. He added that it is crucial to maximize domestic resource mobilization as today's world depends heavily on multilateral and global collective efforts. The minister, however, noted that reforms and funding would not be fully effective without the participation of state and local governments, urging them to increase spending on health and education to complement federal initiatives. Now to the world of sports, where Fulham star Alex Iwobi will look to make his 90th appearance for the Super Eagles when they take on Panthers of Gabon in 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs in Rabat today. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, Iwobi is expected to be named in starting lineup by head coach Eric Shiel. The 29-year-old, who represented England at underage level, switched allegiance in 2015. The versatile midfielder made his debut for the Super Eagles in a friendly against Democratic Republic of Congo in October 2015. Still in sports, Anthony Joshua is set to take a fight with Jake Paul in blockbuster heavyweight clash in Miami later this year. The two camps are reportedly close to reaching an agreement in their negotiations. Paul had been scheduled to face American rival Davis on Saturday, but the bout was cancelled following allegations of domestic violence against the latter. Reports say he could now face Joshua on either December 9 or 12. On entertainment news, American singer, songwriter, and actress Tanya Taylor has expressed gratitude and reflected on her two-decade journey to her first Grammy nomination. In a post on social media, Taylor shared that she signed her first record deal on November 7th, nearly 20 years prior, and has now received her first Grammy nomination on the same date in 2025. Taylor described the journey as one of highs, heartbreaks, reinvention and revelation, and thanked her support system, including her family, team and label, for standing by her through the ups and downs. And that's all we have for you on this particular news bulletin. Do well to go to social media and subscribe to the YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTV.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News. N868M. Thanks for watching. Do enjoy the rest of the day.